It was the earliest to have raced at Suzuka for the season, and there was a lot of talk about how it was much colder than normal. We saw very dry grass being set on fire by sparks from cars, which ultimately feels like it shouldn't really be an occurrence. Like it feels unacceptable that that happens during live sessions. Um, but we did see a race where drivers were pushing for effectively 50 laps with very little change. Like, is this just down to the time of the year? Like, what did you think about this race?
The thing is, like, trying to find a time and a place for Japan in the calendar is trickier than you might think. We're coming out of quite a uh, as a resident Japanese uh, resident. I we're coming out of quite a long winter, really cold winter, like a record snowfall this year. So it's spring has kicked in a bit later than it usually does. Um, Usually it's quite nice by now, but if I look out my window, I'm seeing the biggest like rain cloud, and it's pretty chilly. Um, but the thing is, then you can't do it in summer because summer in Japan is unbearably hot. It is crazy how hot and humid it gets. It would be, racing out in the day would be like racing out in Singapore. It would be brutal. Um, and then we have it where it used to be, which is peak typhoon season. It's a really odd like time to like find a good spot. And to be honest, in maybe in future years, it won't be so bad. But if we have like a more normal winter period, but yeah, it was cold. It was all a bit damp today. It wasn't ideal conditions for the racing that we usually see at Suzuka. I mean, overtaking is difficult, and we generally don't see many, but we never see like this few. Um, so it's it's a bit of a shame that it was all a bit of a mess. And yeah, the grass fires were just someone needed to go out with a hose for crying out loud. That's what I was saying in saying in our Slack chat all weekend. It's like, why didn't someone just go out with a hose and start just watering the grass? Let's dampen the ground a bit more because it did get a bit ridiculous when we had like four red flags or something for that kind of thing. That really shouldn't be happening. It's not like, well, we had it in China, was it last year? So it does happen, but I think it should be something that the FIA should break. Like, let's just like drench the grass like a few days before the weekend. Let's get some moisture. Let's get some so it doesn't dry out and set fire. Because fun fact, sparks that come off the underside of an Formula One car are hot and they don't mix well with dry grass, which is incredibly flammable. And we've been having actually quite a lot of wildfires. We had one in Imabari and one in Okayama recently, which is not too far from where the track is, relatively. So it's something that maybe they should have thought about.
As long as their solution for the grass fires is not by removing the grass and replacing it with tarmac runoff, because that would be worse. I think we will all agree on this podcast that's probably going to be worse, as shambolic as it is to see the session stopping because of fire.
I wouldn't mind it if it was that like drag strip stuff that they had at the outside of Hockenheim. So when it rains, it just becomes a smooth ice rink. I don't think that would be so bad. But yeah, let's keep the grass. Let's keep the grass.
Keep the grass. Definitely don't go for the Paul Ricard style either. That would be even worse. I'm glad that that's gone too.